So along with volcanoes, along with watching the energy, we pay very close attention to the oceanic cycles. And we look at a variety of them. We look at MJOs, Madden-Julian oscillations. For the next couple minutes, I'm going to name drop a lot of really fancy sounding words that make me sound a lot more intelligent than I am at business parties. So keep them in your mind. You can drop them at some point. It'll impress your friends and neighbors. Madden-Julian oscillation, I like to call that the toilet flush of the Pacific. Seems a little odd, but if you're taking a shower and somebody flushes the toilet on you, you suddenly get a burst of freezing cold or searing hot water. Well, the MJO does the same thing. Whatever the Pacific Ocean is normally, MJOs create a very cold or very warm burst of water that goes quickly through the Pacific, lasting 4 to 6 weeks, and changes the outlook of that entire ocean. In 2014, we were actually experiencing El Nino conditions, but it never became an official El Nino, even though we had that sort of temperatures, because we'd get a cold MJO that would lower the temperatures just enough that it could not be officially declared an El Nino. I look at the IOD, Indian Ocean Dipole, and this has a major effect on southern Asia, on Africa, and on Australia. And I've been doing a lot of research on southern hemispheric crops, so this has actually been something I've paid very close attention to. And if you ever go to a meteorological site in Australia, this is all that matters, is the IOD. It covers 90% of their web pages, is what the IOD is doing. I look at monsoons. In the U.S., we have our 4 seasons, and in a lot of countries, there are the 4 seasons, but so many countries, they have 2 seasons, the wet season, the dry season, the rainy season, the heat season. So the monsoons, where they land, how strong they are, how far inland they go, have a massive determination on what's going to happen in that region when it comes to their agriculture. El Ninos and La Ninas, I'll get a lot more into those in a few minutes here, but that's another thing that we pay very close attention to, especially currently because we are in an El Nino. We look at the PDO, the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, which is a 50 to 70 year cycle. Goes 20 to 30 years cold, 20 to 30 years hot, so can be a little higher, a little lower sometimes. And right now the Pacific is normally cold, and it brings cold water to the western part of North America and warm water to the eastern part of Asia. The El Nino has changed that. The El Nino has made warm water along the east of Asia and warm water along the west of North America. And finally, we look at the AMO, the Atlantic Multidecadal Oscillation. This is a much longer cycle of 60 to 80 years. And it is currently in a hot cycle. We have hot water from the Atlantic on the eastern part of North America. So we have all these cycles all working together. They're like the gears of a clock. And if you know that your clock is working, you're going to know what time it's going to be in the future. We pay attention to the gears of our ocean to be able to determine what's going to happen in our climate and weather in the future.